welcome to a new episode of Insta Talk, the show that covers all the latest stories on social media by your favorite influencers, bloggers, and lifestyle experts. I'm your host, Dina, and today we will be looking at how to survive the new winter lockdown as the cold winter season is upon us, and what you can do so that you still have a social life. Our health expert is here to guide us through the weight loss tool of intermittent fasting. We're finding out what it really does to your body and what benefits comes with it. And we're heading back to Dubai to speak to our fashion expert about the benefits of sustainable fabrics. With new restrictions being introduced and the possibility of even more in the not so distant future, how can we stay sane this winter and have a social life? Life in lockdown is a strange place to be, but the summer lockdown was met with sun and socially distant meetups with friends. But as the colder months draw near, what options do we have, and how do we stay cheerful and optimistic? If the thought of locking yourself in your home being cut off from loved ones brings anxiety, we're here to give you a survival guide to the winter lockdown. With me now is Rania Hafez. She is a MA Education Program Leader at Greenwich University. Hello Rania, how are you?
Hi Dina, I'm really well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And thank you for coming onto Insta Talk.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for asking me.
Thank you, darling. Now, we've been talking about lockdowns. Now, we started off, first of all, by measuring the pandemic in weeks, then months, and now seasons. Now, many are asking when the pandemic is going to end. What advice do you have for trying to keep your mind on the present and not being overwhelmed by constant news updates? And because a lot of us do get overwhelmed when we hear about the constant changes in the pandemic.
I think currently, particularly because schools have gone back and universities have gone back, and a lot of students are actually being diagnosed with COVID, a lot of people are getting really worried and they're kind of wondering how to face the new stage of the pandemic. And I think the main thing is to really just check the science and read behind the news. The figures on their own don't tell a story. The fact is, like even all the universities, the young students are actually quite young, quite healthy. And even though they may be contracting COVID, they're not really showing much symptoms, or if they are, they're really mild. So the pandemic, although we see a lot of rise in numbers, we really need to look behind the numbers. We need to look at the science. We need to understand what's happening. Now, for some people, that might be a bit too stressful. And I think what they need to do then is just to step back, look after themselves, look after their families, look at what they're doing to protect themselves and not worry too much. I think part of the pandemic's problem is not the virus itself, but really the stress that has resulted from the virus. And the way some people have felt isolated, some people are really anxious. There's been a lot of anxiety. I've seen it in some people I know. And I think it's about really taking a step back. If people have the capacity to look into the numbers, look into the science, there's really nothing to be worried about just yet. Look at your own behavior, make sure you're protecting yourself, you're protecting your family, and then try and carry on as normal as possible. So don't restrict your life. I think a lot of people at the beginning of the pandemic, myself included, we really literally locked ourselves away. And at the time, it was probably the right thing to do because the pandemic was taking hold of a lot of people in the community, particularly the elderly and those with the underlying health problems. Now we know more about the virus. Now we know about how to actually fight against it, so to speak, or take precautions. You know, we're all wearing masks when we go shopping or we go on public transport. We're all sanitizing and cleaning. We're all social distancing. If we take all these precautions, it's very likely we're going to be okay. And it's very likely that for the majority of people, God forbid they should contract COVID, they will still be okay. They'll be able to shake it off. So it's really about protecting others, protecting those who are more vulnerable, and just taking precautions. And again, you know, looking at every person will be different, and looking at each person as yourself. What is it you really need to carry on? What is it causing you anxiety? What might be something, strategies that could allay your fears or your anxiety? And I think keeping in touch with family and friends although not person, but even by Zoom or WhatsApp is really, really important. It's absolutely vital to keep in touch with others.
Now, when winter hits many of us, we will definitely retreat indoors because winter is just literally at our doorstep. Now, what safe activities will we be able to do with friends or family, but keeping obviously the distance in mind?
I think, with winter, it's going to be even more difficult, going out for walks if the weather is cold or if the weather is stormy. I mean, certainly when the pandemic hit, it was probably the best spring we've ever had.
That's true.
Everyone was sending memes like, all the years the spring is wet except for the pandemic year. We're indoors and it's the most beautiful spring. It's the most beautiful summer. So I think we've experienced this.
Yes.
What a lot of us can do is really, again, it's about keeping in touch. And I think connection is really important for our human flourishing. Research has shown that actually loneliness and being alone and being disconnected from others, not solitude. Some people enjoy solitude, but that kind of feeling of disconnection is one of the biggest stress-inducing kind of conditions of being human, particularly in cities where we might be physically, geographically far away from people we love or friends. If we have access to technology, by all means use that. There were, during the beginning of the pandemic, so many people were doing exercises online, art classes online. They were playing kind of Scrabble games online.
Yes.
There were meetings. There were some, romances that flourished
That's
even
true, yes.
online. I've had coffee mornings with friends and family online, and not just in this country. I've had connection. Probably we tried even connecting more with people across our family and friends, and in a way there were people I haven't even connected with before because they were in different countries or we'd been too busy, and we reconnected during the pandemic because we could do it online.
That's
so
right.
I think the fact that we have the technology has really opened a lot of opportunities for us to reconnect. Now, and not everyone would have technology, or not everyone, probably maybe the older generation might not be so adept at using it. So I would say look out for all the members of the family, maybe dropping, if you can't see them or you're worried about them, see them with social distancing, but maybe drop a parcel of some goodies for them, remind them, you really care for them. And you know what? Write a letter. The art of letter writing, forgotten it. We can still write letters. And it's really funny because I have an elderly aunt back home in Lebanon, and someone was visiting here, and they said, "What would you like Rania to send you?" And she said, "A letter." I really wanted, because everyone's sending WhatsApp messages and sending, and she doesn't have a mobile phone, and she doesn't have the technology. So poor thing, she's really felt she's lost out. So I actually had to write her a letter, which was really lovely. To write a letter longhand. So I think there are many strategies we can use, but the key thing is to keep connected. And sometimes it's to maybe reconnect with people around us we might not have connected with before. So for instance, neighbors. Look out for your neighbors, particularly if they're elderly or they need some support. A lot of people started doing street gatherings for, afternoon tea at social distancing. I think that the pandemic has taught us that we don't have to be islands. We can actually connect, we can build bridges, and even down to, I think talking to total strangers in supermarkets. I've been doing it, other people have been doing it. It seems that it has given us license to actually reach out to others. So keep reaching out, I would say. That's the important message.
Well, I mean, you are always so positive. Every time I speak to you, you turn something that is so depressing and so miserable into something that is so, sort of wonderful and positive. Now, how can we actually change our attitudes, and how can we try to adapt to our newest reality by obviously being positive? How can we do that?
I think it is, thank you for saying that, but sometimes there is a reason to be pessimistic or negative. And there are some people who actually pessimism drives them. Again, I'm thinking of some psychological studies that have been done that showed that people who always expect the worst kind of don't get disappointed. But the problem with this pandemic is that expecting the worst has led some people to be really anxious. And it's about actually having a balance. That might sound really depressing, but at the end, we're all dead. one way or the other. But it's actually the only certainty we have as humans.
Yes.
So
Yes.
people talked a lot about mindfulness. And mindfulness, I'm not saying people start taking up, if they want, they can take up yoga and mindfulness practice, but just being in the moment sometimes. If I can tell you this little anecdote, before the pandemic, I had to have a slight procedure at hospital. And it was the first time I was going to have a general anesthetic, and I was really worried. And I was waiting in like the waiting room before they take you in the operating theater. And I was kind of quite anxious. And there was a lovely older lady who was waiting for her operation. And we got chatting. And she said to me she'd had so many operations, she's lost count. And I said to her, I'm really scared about the general anesthetic. And she looked at me and she said, why are you scared? In this moment you're talking to me, you're doing okay, you're fine. Why are you worried about the moment in the future that might, you don't know what's going to happen? She said you might be walking to the theater and you might trip over and fall down and hurt yourself. So you don't know. And it was such a lovely message. I kind of could have kissed that woman, and on those days, before the pandemic, I could have. But it was such a reassuring message for me to receive that in the moment I was talking to her, the future was still unknown, and I didn't need to worry too much. I needed to trust that there were professionals who will care for me. I'd done all I could. And so that's a way of finding out how to practice this being in the moment, not giving the future too much kind of responsibility, really, kind of holding back.
Yes, absolutely. And finally, before we obviously leave you in peace, what tips do you have for us or for the audience about staying indoors, and especially in this cold weather, apart from maybe doing online cooking and online dating and so on? So what tips do you have for us?
I'm not going to go for online dating. I don't know about other people. I have to say, my favorite thing has been, because we have to stay in, it's given me an excuse to read. I love reading, but before I was always busy doing something else. So I think this actually gives us permission to do what we love doing, whether it's indoors, whether it's outdoors, but it gives you permission to say, actually, I'm going to have some time listening to music, or some time looking up my favorite recipes and trying them out. For me, it's been really, I gave myself permission to read, and I was able to finish a couple of books over the time of the lockdown. Yes. And I really, really enjoyed that. So it's about giving yourself permission, but also being aware of, for instance, like many other people, I'm working online and I'm teaching online. Yes. So being aware how this is impacting on your health. So whether it's taking regular breaks or exercising in the house, kind of find what sparks joy in your heart, or what gives you a bit of tranquility and serenity, and do more of it.
Excellent. Well, let me give you a little bit of information about myself. During lockdown, there was nothing I didn't cook. I made cake, I made kunafa, I made sort of pastries, sfiha, the mince and
that sounds yummy. Why didn't you send me any?
You should come over, obviously keeping social distance in mind. You should come over and try for yourself. That's a reason for you to come and visit. But trust me, I've put on so much weight. So now maybe I should take up exercise. I'll do that indoors.
Well, yeah, I think the putting on weight everyone has, I think, across lockdown. You're right. It's maybe exercise, or maybe just enjoy the food and enjoy the putting on weight. Hopefully soon enough, we will have a vaccine. The pandemic will be over. We can go back to another normal.
Oh, fantastic. I love your positivity. I always have. Thank you so much, Rania Hafez, Education Program Leader at Greenwich University. It's been such a joy to have you on Insta Talk.
You take care, Dina. Lovely to talk to you.
Take care.
Bye.
Intermittent fasting is said to be a very powerful weight loss tool, but it's not a diet in the traditional sense. Instead, it's an eating pattern that cycles through eating and fasting. There are many different patterns you can follow, and whilst it does not tell you what foods you can eat, it will tell you when to eat. Intermittent fasting has been a practice throughout human evolution and is still practiced regularly for religious and spiritual reasons. It has in recent times become very popular in the health and fitness community. But what health benefits comes with intermittent fasting, and where do I start? with me is our gorgeous Chef Daniella. How are you, Chef Daniella?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's early in the morning here, and I'm excited to share what I know about this topic. It's a hot topic.
Fantastic. So the hot topic for this week is intermittent fasting, and believe it or not, I'm actually doing it myself. So let's just start right from the beginning and look at what are the main health benefits of doing intermittent fasting.
Yes, there's so many health benefits. So let me start by explaining just a few of the most popular and most powerful benefits. Number one, when you fast, the insulin levels in your body drop and the human growth hormone increases. So your cells also initiate an important cellular repair process, and they actually change which genes they express. Pretty cool, right? So that means they're going to turn on the good expressing genes and turn off, for lack of a better word, the bad expressing genes. And that's just my value proposition, but that's actually what they're doing. So that's the main, most powerful benefit. The next benefit is it can actually help you eat fewer calories, as you know, Dina. And while doing this, it's boosting your metabolism just slightly. And it's a very effective tool to help you lose weight, especially the belly fat. You can't see it, but I'm pointing to my belly, this big round belly, or even just slight. If you know this, some people can't lose that extra bit of belly fat. Fasting can really help with that.
Yes.
And I also want to talk about the benefits for men. For men, it's been shown to reduce insulin resistance and lower blood sugar levels.
Right.
We don't yet know about women as much as men, but for certain men will definitely reduce insulin resistance. And then studies have also shown that it can reduce oxidative damages and inflammation in the body, which has benefits against the development of many diseases, including cancers that we all know about, and even Alzheimer's disease. So this is a really important thing. The other factor that I pulled out, there's a couple more. It can improve heart disease, such as your blood pressure, your physical blood pressure, your cholesterol levels, which is a big deal for many people, your triglycerides, and your inflammatory markers. It can also trigger a metabolic pathway, which literally removes waste from the cells, which is very cool that it can do that just by giving your body a break from food. And then the last benefit that I found, which is also really important, is that it really benefits the brain. Most of us think that a cleanse or a fast can just benefit the body, but actually it really helps to benefit the brain as well by increasing the growth of new neurons and protect the brain from damage. So all in all, it has a total body effect.
Right. Okay. So obviously it sounds like it is safe to actually get into intermittent fasting by the sound of it because of all the health benefits that it has. But how do I ease into the intermittent fasting for someone that has never fasted before?
Yes, okay. I want to actually answer both of your points, okay, Dina, because I think it's really important. The first is fasting is safe. It's a relatively easy way to cleanse your body. But I will say that if you actually have some sort of, you have an issue with eating disorders, a history of eating disorders, you're underweight, you're pregnant, you have diabetes, this is not something that I would recommend to you. This is something that I would want you to consult with your primary care physician first before doing, okay? So I really want to emphasize that first. But how do you ease into intermittent fasting? So here's how it's done. It's simply a way of an eating pattern, how you eat and how you cycle between periods of eating and fasting. So there are many different types of methods for doing this, but the most common method is called the 16-hour fast or the 24-hour fast, known as the 16-8 or the eat, stop, eat. So let me explain both of these, okay? The first is probably something you're trying on for yourself, Dina. It's called the 16-18. It's the most common. And it involves skipping breakfast and then restricting your daily eating period between 8 hours. So choosing an 8-hour window to eat, it can be between, for instance, 1 p.m. and 9 p.m. And then you fast for 16 hours in between, right? So that's the 16-8 method. Now the next method, which is actually a little harder, it's the eat, stop, eat method. And this is something that you would do not every single day, but occasionally when you feel like your body needs an extra cleanse. And this involves fasting for 24 hours once or twice a week. And for example, you just stop eating, let's say from dinner one day until dinner the next day. So that's how it's done.
Right. Now that sounds a bit too much, I think. I mean, I still want to have my food.
Yeah.
Okay, but how do I deal with hunger whilst I'm on intermittent fasting? Because this is something that has actually happened to me myself, because like I said, I am doing the intermittent fasting. And what happens is that once I'm actually past, say, 8 or 9 o'clock and I stop eating, I suddenly become hungry and I end up snacking, thinking, yeah, it's all right, maybe to have an apple here or a cherry here, or maybe a biscuit or a packet of crisps. But how do I deal with hunger?
Yes, it's a really good question. And I want to answer this first, just really matter of factly. The first way to deal with hunger is to stay hydrated. So if you really want to do the cleanse and do it the full range that you are able to do it by completely cleansing, then you want to stay hydrated and you want to drink as much water as you can and change the temperature of the water. Drink cold water during the days or during the daylight hours, depending on when you choose to start fasting, and then switch to warm water. But just try to enjoy hydration with no calories. You can also enjoy black tea and black coffee. As long as there's no creamer and there's no sugar and you're not ingesting any calories, then you are going to actually give yourself a real reset. But having said that, here's the second part of what I'll say. It all comes down to making it feel comfortable for you. And so for me, when I do a cleanse, I don't actually do a full 16 hours. I usually generally do 12 hours for me. And what I found for women, and in the research that I found regarding women, adult women, a 12 to a 15-hour cleanse can be really beneficial. It doesn't have to be the full 16 hours. And I'm really just taking care of looking at and listening to my body. So if I'm in the middle of a cleanse and I'm feeling like, oh, I'm at the 14th hour, but I'm feeling like I could use a pack of crackers, or I want a few cherries or an apple, go ahead and do that. And go ahead and break the fast whenever it feels comfortable for you. And know that your body will actually take in all the benefits of the cleanse and of the fast during the time that you didn't have any calories. So your body's going to acclimate with you. Right.
Okay. That sounds like a plan, actually. I might actually definitely follow it. Now, how much should I be eating a few hours before and after fasting? I mean, the quantities, how much should I be looking at?
Okay, so this is very important. When you're finished your intermittent fast and you're ready to begin eating again, it's important to eat well after your fast. So you want to reset your body with balanced meals, focusing on eating the rainbow, as I always talk about, which again means a lot of colorful and vibrant fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and legumes. These are the simplest and the most nutrient-dense foods for you to ease back in with. And when you begin eating again after your fast, you want to pace yourself. You can sometimes get ahead of yourself, and feel like you need to prepare a 5-course meal because you've been waiting. But the trick is to eat small and balanced portions and to give your body a chance to really absorb all of the potent nutrients in your food. And start with a small meal, make every meal balanced. And in the middle of your day, go ahead and have a larger meal if you're craving that. And then ease back into a smaller meal as you're getting ready to start your next intermittent fast.
Right. Okay. Will I lose any weight actually doing intermittent fasting, Daniella?
It depends. It depends on your body, Dina. So everyone is bio-individual, and there's really no way if somebody's going to lose weight. But what I will say is most people feel a difference. Even if they're not seeing the numbers on the scale drop, they're feeling a difference, right? I mean, is this the case for you? Or do you feel different when you do a cleanse or a fast?
I do feel different, I must admit. I just feel the clothes are slightly lighter, not a lot, but they're not too tight on me. But once I go on the scales, I get really depressed because there's no change in the weight. And hence I just go back and I'm thinking, is it worth it? Is it worth it? But that's me. I go from one diet to another and I just give up literally after 2 or 3 weeks.
And you're not alone. I feel the same way. And I think many of us listening also feel the same way. And remember that it's not just about the number. If we're seeing slight incremental changes, like we're really feeling better, our clothes fit a little bit looser, maybe we feel a little lighter on our feet. I often talk about feeling light on my feet, or maybe we're sleeping better. These are all indicators that our body is actually getting a really good reset. So follow your body and let your body tell you what it needs. If you find, hey, you're just sleeping better when you fast, maybe do that and do it and enjoy it for that reason and continue to see, am I losing weight over time? And if not, maybe there are other ways for your body to lose weight.
Right. Okay. Now, finally, I know from the production team, they were asking me to ask you this question. Can you give us a simple meal plan for those that hate cooking? And I'm talking about a few individuals in our production team that hate cooking.
You mean coming back after a fast?
Yes. So yeah, give us some ideas. Yes. So what kind of meals that they
this is
do?
so fun. Way to put me on the spot. Okay, yes, let me think. Going into my kitchen mind here.
Yes.
The first thing that I would do, and I'm just going to tell you what I usually eat after a cleanse.
Yes.
I often will do a really nice cold and refreshing smoothie right at the end of a cleanse.
Right.
And I actually will start to wean myself off of my cleanse with a little black coffee. So I'm actually on a 12-hour fast right now myself, and I'm having just a little black coffee. And then as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go and make a fruit and vegetable smoothie. I'm going to have a ton of colorful ingredients in it, and I'm going to put some ice and some frozen banana, and it's going to be cold and refreshing. That's going to wake me up, and that's going to wake my body up. And then my next meal will probably be, I'm going to follow the raw till 4, which is I'm just going to have a beautiful, maybe a raw wrap, like a coconut wrap, full of different ingredients like lettuce, beets, maybe some bell peppers, some avocado, and maybe some olive oil and balsamic, and just make it delicious, crunchy, as raw as I possibly can. That's for me. You could have a lightly cooked meal or a quick lunch if you want it's lightly cooked.
Yes.
And then dinner, something really kind of light and easy. I like to enjoy a light dinner. And then if I want, I can even have a little tiny sweet after, maybe a low, like a cookie that doesn't have a lot of sugar, or some berries with a delicious scoop of frozen yogurt that I've made homemade, so it doesn't have any additives or anything like that. Something like that. So keeping your meals fresh and balanced and light and delicious. Keep it colorful too, and your body's going to thank you.
That sounds absolutely amazing. And thank you so much, Daniella, once again, for giving us all this amazing advice. And I am definitely going to follow through what you've just said, because I think, I shouldn't give up at this stage. It is easy. I haven't sort of, been suffering that much. But the only time, like I said, I suffer is when it's actually me starting in the evening to go back into my fasting, and then I end up snacking. So I will follow through. Drink water. I think that's probably what I have to do. Just drink lots of water. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Daniella, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Sustainable fashion matters. It will help reduce your carbon footprint and is kinder to the planet. But sustainable fashion, unless you're buying secondhand, comes at a price. There's a growing demand for eco-friendly fashion, with top fabrics being linen, organic cotton and hemp. We're heading to Dubai to speak to our fashion expert about the importance of sustainable fashion and how to style sustainable fabrics. As ever, our beautiful Rania Hafez from RanaZone. Hello, Rana, how are you?
Hi, Dina. I'm well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I don't know why is it that I was looking down here when you're up there. So anyway, how are you today? Where are you today, first of all? I see you've got a guest with you.
Yes, today we are at Yaser Mayasa. It's a textile fabric shop. And as we know, today we're going to talk about sustainable fabric. And because they are very into it and they have their own section of sustainable, this will be the awareness for people, especially in fashion. With me, Hussain Albeer, he will talk about sustainable fabric and how they do it. And then I will come back to you, Dina.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you so much. Hello, Hussain Albeer. Thank you so much for joining us on Insta Talk. Right. So obviously we are, like Rana explained, we are talking about sustainable fabric. Now, what are the most sustainable fabrics to use besides cotton, linen and silk? Because obviously we are quite intrigued to find out more about what other fabrics are there.
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me, and thanks for this opportunity to express and talk about this topic that everyone is talking about. Basically, sustainable fashion has different divisions. There is the natural fibers, which is, for example, as you mentioned, linen, cotton, silk, wool, and then we have the fabrics that are made from recycled plastic. For example, nowadays we have 100% recycled polyester. It's also very common. I have here an option.
Example of fabric colors.
Nice.
This can be used even, especially here, they're using it for eco abaya. We can use it for dresses, sometimes even for shirts. So there's really not a limit for it. And for the average person and the consumer, it's very hard to tell the difference because it just feels the same.
I was going to say,
you can see it's a very, very.
It's amazing.
You cannot tell this is like, yes, plastic.
You can't tell the difference at all. But my question, Hussain, right? Okay, because me thinking plastic, you're talking about plastic. How could plastic? Where am I going to find somewhere something?
Okay, so there is a
cloth? Fabric.
It's like a 5-6 steps. First of all, they will take the plastic bottles from the ocean. The first step will be to wash it completely, and then they will cut it to small pellets. These pellets will be molded and with heat. They will make it like small flakes. From the flakes, they will yarn and make the yarns, the fibers.
Right.
From the fibers, the fabric is made. At the end of the day, it's still a polyester yarn, so there is no difference. Only the source is different. This is a sustainable source.
Yeah, because Dina, the fabric actually is made more than one yarn. There's like a cotton, polyester.
They're mixed.
So you mix them all together. I see. So it's not just the plastic on its own that's actually, yes, I see.
Correct. Yes,
right.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
This is the details of the fabric. This is people doesn't know.
Like the technical aspect, the average people will not use it. Only for the people that are in the industry.
I see. Right. Okay. So that means Dina, don't go into technicalities. Dina, stick to the point. Right. Okay.
No, we want to go to the.
I'm an average person. I'm an average person who doesn't know anything about sustainable fabric. So this is the first time I'm learning it for Hussain and Rana. So thank you guys. Right. Now, how important is sustainable fabric in a world of fast fashion and overproduction, do you think, in your opinion, Hussain?
It's a very important thing, especially now. There is a worldwide move towards being conscious about the environment, the weather, the heating, the world climate. Because in these fabrics, there's much less water used and consumed in the production. There is around 72% less water goes to the oceans. The same with the pollution, because we're not taking a natural resource. We're just recycling something that has been used already. So as you can see in some of here, it has the labels of how many plastic bottles were removed from the ocean to make 1 meter. So there are 18 bottles taken from the ocean to create 1 meter. That's how good it is to the
So it's probably still tempting now that I would probably want to go through the fabric, and the more plastic is used, I would want to buy that one, to be honest with you, because it means that I've saved more plastic.
And then you will get this little pins
that we have here.
You need to send me one, and you need to send me one, Hussain. I'm waiting for my fabric and for this pin, please.
Yaser and Mayasa, when they give the fabric to the consumer, what they do, they give these pins. So they do, they put it on the abaya, then the customer, when she buy it, she know that this is
this is sustainable fabric design. Yes.
Why do you have this pin? What's up with this? And then you will say the story that's so cool. I want to use that.
So join the club, join the sustainable fabric.
It's like creating a community and a movement.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant, Hussain. That's absolutely fantastic. Can actual organic clothes necessarily mean safer production that won't harm the environment? And I think by the look of it, it does seem like it won't harm the environment, because you're saying how you're saving on the use of water, you're saving on the use of other facilities that would help with the production. Is that right?
Yeah, it's correct. It's around, as I said, 70 to 80%. You're reducing the pollution that's going to the outside world. And the same manufacturing places, they always have kind of an initiative where they make, for example, every 100 meters, they're going to plant a tree. Something like this.
Like also they are using about the bamboo.
Yeah, they're doing about
the linen and the bamboo. This is from trees.
So for
bamboo.
every 100 meters
Oh my God, that's from bamboo.
That is produced, they will plant one bamboo tree. So they're trying as much as possible to be good to the environment.
Yeah, and linen. Look at this shiny linen. Beautiful.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
And also there's a vegan leather.
Yeah, because some clients are thinking, okay, so it's just the normal cotton, linen, whatever, it's just too basic. So we've come up with this fabric for even to use it in the winter, because the base is cotton 100%. So it's kind of a vegan leather for clients that don't want to use any real leather.
Can I ask you a thing? Can I ask?
Because for example, in Canada, we can't export to clients anything that's natural leather. That's what they would go to vegan leather or synthetic leather. That will be the option.
Can I ask you, Hussain, if I wanted to design, let's say a dress, okay, an outfit, using your fabric, would it be more expensive for me to do that rather than just go and buy it from, say, a normal high street shop?
No, it wouldn't necessarily be. You mean in terms of the sustainability aspect? Is sustainable more expensive than normal?
Sustainable and the cost, you know, because now looking at your fabric, I want to design an outfit that is using sustainable organic materials. So will it be more expensive for me?
Currently, the difference is roughly 10 to 15% higher for the sustainable. However, majority of the clients, designers, brands, and fashion houses are okay with that because it's giving them such a boost even for them. When there is a story to give, the client is like attached to the story of the
That's amazing.
And they're not just buying a product. And that's
because it's awareness, you know, all over the world, and because this is helping the world. So I would have paid more just to feel it emotionally.
To make a difference. You're trying to make a difference. That's what you're trying to do. So going back to the designer, which fashion designer do you see, let's say on Fashion Week, for the Fashion Week shows 2020, that really doesn't hold any values of sustainable materials? So the ones that are not actually taken into account.
Currently, the layer of the market that's totally out of this game is would be the designers and fashion brands for the evening wear.
I see.
Haute couture dresses, wedding dresses. It's just because the consumer is 100% going towards the look, and they don't really care about how good it will be after 5 years, 3 years, how it's affecting the environment. It's just a one time. So they're just going with whatever sources. However, there are many brands, as we were discussing, me and Rana, that have moved to this.
Well, that's I'm going to come to Rana in a minute about it. Yes, I mean, Rana, coming down to... Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, there's Prada, and now you see Nike, Burberry. They started to have their own section for sustainability and giving the awareness, because also some people, they need organic fabric, because some people now have like a sensitive skin and with the eczema, things like that. So they are looking for like a 100% cotton and some from nature. And as we said, because it's a case around the world, so everybody now is starting to have their own section for sustainable fashion. And you can see now also online with description for the item, they are writing it's made of recycled and especially polyester and sustainable, because they know that the customer is going more for sustainable.
Is aware of it.
Now, what outfit options are available for the winter months that are still sustainable? So outfits, give us some ideas, Rana.
Yes, you know, like a linen.
Currently, they can use a heavier linen. They can use
the vegan leather.
Vegan leather.
So in terms of outfits, yeah, in terms of outfits.
Yes.
So you put an
Yes.
outfit together. So these are going to be available for us. So
Yeah,
we're
jacket,
vegan leather.
Jackets, they can
Yes.
do long jackets.
Yes.
Yeah, there's not an issue with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even like I think this is also cashmere.
Yeah, it's kind of rayon, but a very heavy rayon.
Rayon. Yeah.
So
But
it's
it looks like a cashmere,
natural.
you know, or wool.
Yeah.
Hussain, I
That's because of the weight.
need to feel this myself, Hussain. I need to feel the
Yes,
fabric
yes.
myself.
Well, we have to
Nothing on
send
the
you
camera.
to
You have,
London.
I can't.
We will. Yaser and Mayasa will.
I'm not gonna accept it being virtual. I'm sorry.
Yes. Hussain will do that, of course. You know, Yaser and Mayasa, they are encouraging and helping new designers and giving them the opportunity with their sustainable fabric to do their own collection, you know, to give the awareness that new designers will be more with the environment and taking
They'll be
care.
encouraged to start this line to showcase their collections.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Finally, Rana, what tips do you have for styling sustainable fabrics now? So give us some tips that we can actually, you know, where should we go and buy some items that we can actually wear that are sustainable, and how do we wear them and so on? So what tips do you have?
You know, no, it's like now I think that most of us, when we go and we do shopping, we have to read the label. Okay. We have to read from what this fabric is made of. And at least we should ask the shops, like, do you have a sustainable section? You know, because I think that this is like the advantage is for ourselves, our bodies, more to keep, you know, like a clean seas, oceans, environments. So this will also have some, even in accessories, bags. You see, like when they do to go to supermarkets, now they are doing special shopping bags, you know, that, reusable, that instead of using nylon, you know, then this will be more tips for using sustainable. And, you know, as he said, that there is awareness, and now with the pen, and we are now beginning with the October breast cancer also awareness.
Yes, that's why you're wearing pink.
We are wearing
pink
now. Yes, and inshallah we will talk about this more. But I think this is more into, as I said, to go when we do shopping online, to read the descriptions more, and to see what fabric are made of.
Well, actually, just this is obviously along the same context that we're talking about. There are a few bloggers and media influencers, social media influencers, that are actually encouraging to use sustainable fabric and to reuse their clothes, you know, because sometimes if you're in the public eye, okay, and if you wear the item more than once, you get scrutinized, you get bullied because you're wearing the item more than once. Whereas now, I've noticed that a lot of the bloggers and social media influencers are actually going against this and actually trying to bring awareness to these people about the fact that, no, you are allowed to wear your item more than once. You are allowed to reuse your item. You know, you can actually reuse your item and do whatever you want with it. So stop the bullying. And that's another message that I wanted to actually bring across through Insta Talk, about the fact that we really need to reuse our stuff. We can't just wear it once or twice. Just use it. If it's a classic item, it will live forever. Just like how you mentioned, young lady.
Yeah,
with your lovely
and you know what? Yes, and you know there's something that these items live longer. Like I'm sure that you have items from your mom.
Yes,
like I did.
I do.
My mom had from her mom, like, and me, I'm keeping things for my daughter.
Yes.
You know, so this is how it, when you have a sustainable and a good quality of an item, it will live more longer.
That's true. That's true. Well,
That's what they also call upcycling.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Recycling. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Hussain Albeer. It was such a pleasure to have you on our show, and hopefully we will see more of you in the
Thank you very
future.
much.
And
Thank
I
you.
have learned
Thank
a
you.
lot today. I have learned a lot today, honestly. It's been a really good learning curve for me. So I went from somebody that knows nothing to somebody that knows a lot. So thank you so much, guys. Thank
No,
you.
this is why Insta Talk is here.
Yes.
Exactly.
We have to
exactly.
learn. Every time we learn new things.
Absolutely,
Yes?
absolutely.
And
All
teaching
thanks to you.
everybody, giving the awareness and the information for everyone.
And I can't wait to see you in pink next week as well, young lady. So
Yes, I will.
thank you so much, guys. You have a lovely evening. Take care.
Thank you.
Greetings from
Bye.
London. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
With new beauty trends coming out regularly, our routines are getting longer and more expensive. There's no shame in spending on beauty and splashing some cash on makeup, but it's worth doing your research and finding out which products to splurge on and the ones you can scrimp on. Makeup TV founder Joanne Morgan is here to guide us on how to shop for a full set of makeup and still look glamorous on a £40 budget.
Hi, Joanne Morgan here, celebrity makeup artist and brand owner. Today I was asked to do what I thought was going to be the impossible, and that was to source products to do a full makeup for £40, just 40 UK pounds sterling. Anyway, I've managed. Everything I'm wearing today totals £40, and I'm sorry, 30p, so we're going to have to borrow 30p off someone, or we can just go without the lip gloss, and then we're actually under £40. So my eyeshadows, this beautiful eyeshadow palette from W7, this is Romanced, total cost £6.95. I'm wearing the concealer in the HD concealer, which costs you £3.50. My mascara and kohl pencil together in a set, boxed set, £4. Amazing, absolutely incredible. Foundation, beautiful double long wear foundation, £4.50. I applied it with my fingers and buffed it with a brush. To do the cheeks and highlighter, look at this, amazing. You've got everything you need here. You can even use the eyeshadows as well. And in this, you get 4 brushes, obviously 2 brushes, 4 ends. This is one of the W7 Christmas boxes called Let's Face It. Total £7.95. You can't go wrong, you really can't go wrong. And to top it off, I used a nice matte. We were talking about the matte lipsticks that don't come off under the mask, and then I put a little bit of gloss on the top. So get yourself online to W7 and have a look.
This brings us to the end of this week's show. I would like to thank all our guests for coming onto the show. We will be back next week with all the latest trending stories from our fashion stylists, influencers, and lifestyle experts. Now, if you want to watch our weekly episodes of Insta Talk, then follow us online at WTX News on Facebook and Instagram, or visit our website www.wtxnews.com, or subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can like, share, and comment. So that's it from all of us here. I'll see you next week. Take care. Goodbye.